You are listening to the On the Blue Line podcast, covering the National Hockey League and more hockey news. Here are your hosts now, Phil Bernardi and Chad Van Doorzen. Hi, and hello, hockey fans. This is Phil Bernardi of the On the Blue Line Hockey podcast. With my partner,
Chad Van Doorzen.
We're proud to bring you our 16th episode today on March 24th, 2017. Man, there were some good Hawks games this week, Chad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, either one you want to go with, they were both great.
Even the Wednesday one, which we didn't recap. But we will start off with Sunday, March 19th. Colorado visited Chicago. The last time the Avalanche were in town, they beat the Avs. The Avs won, the Avs won in overtime, 3-2 over the Blackhawks.
Yeah, it was like we said prior the last podcast, Colorado always plays the Hawks real tough.
Yeah, and we thought the same thing would happen, and it did happen, for about the first half of the game, starting in the first period. The starting netminders, mind you, were Jeremy Smith and Scott Darling, both coming out of the Nashville Predators system, which we happened to mention last time as well.
Yeah, it was a great observation. Nashville does produce a lot of good defensemen, but they also produce their goaltenders. That's their bread and butter.
Yeah, it has been, especially with Carter Hutton, saving St. Louis' season a little bit this year when Jake Allen was a little down in the dumps. But we'll start off with Kane getting that goal from Panarin, which was set up by Schmaltz perfectly. He, did a nice cross-ice pass. It looked like about a two-line pass.
Yeah.
Right into the zone, right to Panarin for a 2-on-1, the odd man rush, and just gave it to Kane just for a little tap in over the blocker of Jeremy Smith.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of great play from Nick Schmaltz. He's a setup guy. He's got fast hands. The guy also is a bit knows how to power forward his way to the net. These are all attributes that, it's great to have him along for the ride.
Yeah, and I like his drive more as a physical force than Hartman per se. I think Hartman has a little more skill, but Schmaltz does bring a little more hammer to it. But then Grigorenko had a dirty garbage goal to make it 1-1. Soderberg shot the puck on net. Darling tried to whack it away with his stick and whacked it right into the slot, which landed right on Grigorenko's stick. Come on, Darling, you should hold on to that.
I also think that Blake Como got away with the Seabrook trip.
Oh, yes, that's right. That was pretty blatant. But, you, especially if your defenseman goes down like that. Seabrook didn't go down very easily.
He didn't go down easily. You're right. And also,
I would have held on to it personally as a goaltender.
Yeah, I agree.
Get the whistle, have the guys recollect. You get a different line out there, especially new deep pairing. But Grigorenko scored, and then he had another one, which was a beauty goal. He stick-handled right past Seabrook. This one was assisted from Tyson Barrie and Fedor Tutin to make it 2-1 Colorado. It was also past Scott Darling's glove. The first three goals of the game actually were on Scott Darling's glove.
Yeah, they definitely went after that. You also noticed there was a slippery spot alongside there. I think Brian Campbell fell a few times. Scott Darling almost fell.
Yeah, maybe Soupy's skates weren't sharpened well enough, but Scott Darling, he kind of looked like he tripped on the net, and he's a big guy.
Oh, yeah.
And then in the second period, just to hammer it home, where this was the third in a row on Darling's glove, Andrew Ghetto, had a very, very, very nice tip. This is the kind of tip you like. Barbario kept it right along the ice, and Andrew Ghetto tipped it top shelf where Mama hides the cookies to make it 3-1 for Colorado.
Oh yeah, I know. I remember that play. That was very excellent.
I'm sorry you were caught up in my voice. I understand.
So soothing and nice. Yeah, but it was. Yeah, I wanted to say one of those tip-in plays. It's really hard to do and it's hard to set up, and to be able to pull that off, these guys they do it on purpose. It's no accident that it was a good tip like that.
Yeah, especially with Barbario, shooting for the tip. That's no accident.
Yeah, these guys are pros, really good at what they do.
Well, to start off the third period, Taves got a goal assisted by Hayden and Keith to make it 3-2 Colorado. And here we go again. It was Keith's intention, for that shot to be deflected, and it went off Hayden's skate and then went off of Taves and in. You really can't do anything right there if you're Jeremy Smith. I mean, getting one deflection's one thing, but then when it's bouncing like a pinball, it's a little easier to understand if you can't grab a hold of it.
Yeah, it's one of those 50-50 shots, Colorado, it's one of that's the type of play it is. It's 50-50. So,
and that just also shows how many guys, sorry to cut you off there, but that just shows how many guys were in front of the net for the Hawks. So there had to be at least 2 there for the Avs. That was a perfect setup by the Hawks.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of it, and you're seeing it all the way through. They have so many weapons. I mean, you could pick any kind of scenario to score, and the Hawks can pursue it. And that's, along with depth and, their skill. I mean,
depth being Hayden, right there. He's been great for them ever since leaving Yale and coming to the Chicago.
Yeah.
Richard Panik scored to make it 3-3. This one was also assisted by Hayden and Seabrook. This one, Seabrook, was looking for the deflection, but it ended up hitting Tyson Berry like on the inside of the foot. Oh, and you could see him feel it. He was okay, but it bounced right to Richard Panik in the slot to make it 3-3. And this came 17 seconds right after Taves scored.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, they score in a heartbeat once they get going.
Yeah, because then the next goal happened 17 seconds later. So the Hawks scored 3 goals in 34 seconds. This one was a Panarin goal. He entered Colorado's zone on Smith's blocker side, the right side of the ice, and he just moved all the way to the left side. He drew everyone over to him and shot the puck. On net, Smith looked like he saved it with his elbow. As a goalie, he tried to catch it, but, he kept his arm. He kind of chicken wing saved it. But it went off his arm and in. It actually hit the crossbar and bounced off his back and in. So, I mean, sometimes you get the bounces that go your way and sometimes they don't.
Yeah, especially with that offsides call, I mean, not just with the puck, but, also with the offsides call for Jonathan Taves' first goal of the game. I would want to say that was offsides.
Yeah, it was kind of bizarre to see the NHL rule that a good goal when the evidence was clear, but
good teams will get away with it, and
Well, maybe the league will do something. I don't know, Chad, but I'm not gonna, say too much about the league in a negative light. But they definitely got that one wrong.
Yeah,
Taves, got the next goal from Hjalmarsson and Van Riemsdyk to make it 5-3 Colorado. I mean, Chicago just went on a tear from being down 3-1 to winning 4-3 with those 3 goals. And now to make it 5-3, this puck was placed perfectly over Smith's leg pad, but out of the reach of his blocker. That just like maybe about 13 inches off the ice and, almost post in. He placed it perfectly. And then there's an empty netter by Krug with 1.6 left, from his own zone to seal the deal. 6-3 Chicago.
Yeah, with the Hawks being able to, to make a summary of this game, the Blackhawks come out and they're able to score within seconds in between these goals. And obviously Colorado was able to stay with them for a good first and second period, but, with the Blackhawks, with their skill and being able to test teams, that's their ability, and that's a huge thing. And, that's a summary of the story here.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it even just shows on the score sheet. I mean, Chicago didn't take a penalty at all. The face-offs are pretty even. Colorado had like an 8% edge, or 0.8% edge, excuse me. And Chicago went 10-10-14 for 34 on net. And Colorado, only had 7-9-9 for 25 total. Chicago, though, had 11 giveaways. They had 10 takeaways, though, but that's a lot of giveaways.
It was at the end of the second period, they're really picking on Michael Kepney and Seabrook. And, they're really forcing them, waiting on, they sent 2 guys in the offensive zone, and, that's enough to disrupt them.
Oh, yeah, they definitely put pressure on them, but that third period was definitely all the Hawks. We just want to say that we are on JudcastRadio.com, WJOB 1230 AM and 104.7 FM, WJOB1230.com. You can find us on YouTube and on the Blueline. We also got a Facebook, right, Chad?
Instagram, I think.
Yep, and a Twitter also, at Blueline Podcast. We also like to welcome one of our sponsors who's from the state of hockey. They were a little happy to see Hermantown win the state championship that past week for the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament.
Congratulations.
The state of hockey is in Minnesota due to the numerous amateur and collegiate hockey teams, as well as the Minnesota Wild. I mean, speaking of the Wild, they had a rough week this week in the NHL.
They've definitely been on a slump. Ever since that trade almost, it seems kind of, they just...
Yeah, they've kind of been a little maybe even-keeled when they can't be even-keeled.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes even though you bring a good player in, you're trying to figure out where he fits, and that's Minnesota's problem, and I think it's the wrong time to have that problem.
Oh, yeah. Our next game that we recap is the Wednesday night rivalry game, and it was the New York Islanders visiting the New York Rangers over at Madison Square Garden. The Islanders ended up winning 3-2, and this was a pretty good game. The first period had no goals, but both starting goaltenders, Thomas Greiss for the Islanders and Antti Ranta for the Rangers, I mean, they had great saves to keep it scoreless in the first.
Yeah, especially on Greiss' side. I mean, he really kept the Islanders in the game.
And although the first period was pretty exciting, the second was even more because there was, each team had double digits in shots in the second. The Rangers had 14 and the Islanders had 12. The Rangers started off the scoring to make it 1-0. Zuccarello just, was in front of the net, and Zibanejad made the whole play happen. He got tripped up, he was on his knees, and passed it right over into the slot.
Yeah, I remember that play, and Zibanejad, when I can pronounce his name. He has great playmaking ability. He's a great power forward center, and you love to see him be able to do what he does.
You can see why Ottawa was very high when they drafted him, and it was kind of strange to see him let go, but, sometimes it's time for players to have, a change in scenery.
Yeah, and a team like the Rangers, who can, he's a big player with a big contract, and Rangers were, smart to pick him up.
Oh, yeah, and then Anders Lee, from the state of Minnesota, speaking of the state of hockey, scored to make it 1-1. Beauvillier backhanded the puck intentionally off of Ranta's pad for that perfect rebound pass, and Lee just buried the rebound.
Yeah, I mean, these are examples of power forwards. I mean, that's the story of these three games.
And he, I believe, leads the team in goal scoring over Tavares, which, is a change.
That's a big surprise. Also, John Tavares got 3 penalties in this game.
Wow, it really isn't like him. Speaking of Rick Nash, he made it 2-1 from Oscar Lindbergh and Holden. He scored the opposite way that Greiss was going while on one knee.
What a pass along the boards. I mean, that's like at least a 30-degree angle pass.
Yeah, I mean, that was quite the setup.
Yeah.
And then it was a nice finish, only being on a knee. I mean, sometimes guys get to a knee to take the shot, but he was already on one knee when he got the puck.
Well, one knee is like Patrick Kane on feet. I mean, he's a tall guy.
Well, to start the third period, there was a power play goal by the Islanders, Nikolai Kulemin. This one was also assisted by Beauvillier, and Josh Hosang. Hosang centered the puck to Beauvillier, who deflected off his skate, and it went off Kulemin's skate and passed Ranta. This was another, one of those double deflections.
Tic-tac-toe right there. I mean, not the way you want to do it, but hey.
Yeah, the unintentional tic-tac-toe.
Yeah, I mean, Hosang was so excited. I mean, this guy is like Panarin and Tervo Teravainen.
Yeah, he has been fun to watch as a skater, and he was doing the shot for a deflection. It just deflected kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, either way you can get him, that's a great start for the guy.
And then to take the 3-2 lead, Ladd had a power play goal assisted by Anders Lee and Tavares. Lee passed behind his back, like right in front of the net, to Ladd, who was in the slot waiting to hammer it home. Yeah,
that was a great power play goal. It was set up through the umbrella, made its way off the shot. Anders Lee was able to get he was falling almost as if he was getting the backhand, and Andrew Ladd staying on his feet was able to put it through. That was an awesome play.
I thought Thomas Greiss stole the game for him because the Rangers through 3 periods had 36 shots on net, and he had 34 saves.
Yeah, Thomas Greiss, I mean, you said it. He's the man for the Islanders right now.
You can see why they put Halak in Bridgeport now. But
oh, yeah.
The Islanders were 2 for 4 on the power play, while the Rangers were 1 for 4. Both teams were pretty even in the face-off circle, with the Islanders having a 1% edge. But my stat was of the night was the Islanders had 2 less giveaways than the Rangers, 13, but the Rangers had 10 takeaways.
Hey,
I mean, the Rangers really did own most of the play, and Grice really did stand on his head.
yeah, I mean, you see a lot of teams, on a defensive aspect, you see a lot of teams on their forecheck. They don't necessarily go in. They wait for the defenseman to make a play or try to pass outside their zone. Where these Rangers, you also saw Colorado sticking to getting the takeaways by sitting at the blue line, and you see it a lot and a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta wait for the opportunities to come your way, and being at that open ice is usually where the puck will go.
Yeah, and
no matter what side of the team you're, I mean, no matter what team you're on, whatever side of the ice you're on.
Exactly. You're almost. It's almost like a team sitting there and fishing. It's a strategy in hockey now.
Yep. And then our third game happened to be Ed Belfour night, which was pretty cool. Last night, March 23rd, Dallas visited Chicago. Another former team of Ed Belfour's, who he won the Stanley Cup with, the Stars. It was cool to see him come out in his old gear. That's for sure.
Oh yeah,
I mean, growing up and watching the old netminders, it was cool seeing him come back in his original stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those goaltenders. He was fun to watch. He was a hothead. I mean, he fit the Blackhawks. Tough. We may not win, but we're gonna beat you up. That type of mentality, and he was really fun to watch.
Yeah, so it's cool to see him getting honored by the Blackhawks. This game was really exciting. Kerry Lettinen got the start for the for the Stars, and Crawford got the start for the Hawks. And Ed Belfour made sure to give a glove high five to both goalies, especially Lettinen as he left the ice, which I thought was a very good gesture. It's brotherhood.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said in the past, and that you already know, the culture between goalies, it goes a long way.
Yep. So, as usual, we get started off with a Kane goal. It was a power play marker to make it 1-0, assisted by Panic and Taves. This is the one where I was mentioned to you off air. Jamie Benn missed the net with a shorthanded rush, and Kane just came back when wristed the puck 5-hole.
Yeah. With Kane being able to, with it's the no look pass, and he's looking like everyone is. There's always a defenseman. You've seen this a lot throughout the years or throughout the season.
In years.
Kane will, look like he's going to pass because he's known for his passing. Everybody knows this. But lately he's just, been able to dish it out. And, it's a really quick shot and it's tough to react to.
Yeah, he's been more comfortable shooting lately. And the period ended 1-0. And then Dallas made it 1-1. Hemsky came down Chicago's slot untouched. I mean, nobody was really there, and Klingberg just gave him the puck, and Hemsky just fired it home.
Yeah, sometimes it just gets open. I mean, it was like in the Colorado game. One of their goals were.
Yeah, I think Hossa came down the slot in one of those games too, and just came down untouched.
Yeah, it's something that we gotta look for because it's like, how does it get that wide open?
And for the third period, I mean, I guess I did jump the gun a little bit because it was Hossa's goal where he came down the slot untouched, made it 2-1. He became the 35th all-time scorer in goals. He passed Pat Verbeek, the little ball of hate, as he was known.
I didn't know that one.
Kruger, was going to the center of the net and was providing a nice screen for Hossa as he came in and just wristed it past Kerry Lettinen to make it 2-1. And then Hemsky scored again to tie it 2-2. This one was from Jamie Benn. Lindell wristed the puck on net. Benn tipped it, and Crawford made the save, but it just happened to go right to Hemsky, who was on Crawford's right-hand side, and just put it in the net.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those goals, like you were saying earlier, there's nothing you can do about those goals.
Yeah, and also, like I kind of said a little bit earlier also, was you just got to find the open ice.
Yeah, I mean, and
because the puck happened to come right to him in the open ice.
Yeah, Hemsky, Hossa, the perfect example of that, Phil.
And then the Hawks got a power play near the end of the third period, which carried over into overtime, and they couldn't score on it, which, kind of was a little bit of a bummer. I was pulling for the Hawks to get this game. And then in the shootout, Panarin ended up scoring the winner. He backhanded it and hit bar down. Crawford then had to stop Hemsky, which he did win the game. It was the Hawks' 18th win in 22 games, which is a pretty good stat right there.
They're on fire.
I mean, that just shows that you had a good goaltender and a good backup when your starter was injured. I mean, they had a really good tandem this year. And I saw on, I believe, the Jets broadcast, one of their analysts said that the Jets should target Scott Darling during free agency, which is an obvious choice. Both Flames goalies were up there too, Brian Elliott and Chad Johnson. They're both good too, but I mean, with Scott Darling's elevated play this season, he might be expendable.
You know, that's a downer to see because he's also, I mean, with the backup goalies, he's also a great character. I mean, he's got 4th Street named right after him, and it'd be really tough to see him go, but you're absolutely right.
I mean, and it's nothing against him. He's become a good goaltender. Crawford really kept the Hawks in the game in the second period, I thought, because Dallas had the most shots that they had of the game during the second period. They went 13, 14, 11, and then 6 in OT for a total of 44. Crawford really came up big.
Yeah, you saw it in overtime too. Jamie Benn had, I think, 2-3 opportunities.
Yep, he did.
And before that, there was at least 2 other shots going off, and Crawford was a wall.
Chicago was 1 for 4 on the power play. Dallas went 0 for 3, and you got to convert on the power play. But Dallas won 54% of the draws. Chicago just needs to start winning a majority of the faceoffs. That's the only thing we've been clamoring about lately about the Blackhawks.
Well, again, Anisimov is a huge miss.
Yes. Chicago converted 2 of the 3 shootout tries to Dallas's 1 of 3. Kane and Panarin scored. Panarin's goal was the game winner. Dallas had 19 hits. Chicago only had 9. Usually Chicago keeps it pretty close in the hits, but not this contest. Chicago had 9 giveaways, Chad.
Yeah, you said Colorado game was 11, wasn't it?
Dallas only had 3 giveaways. I mean, Chicago had 11 takeaways. Dallas only had 6, but 9 giveaways.
Yeah, those are really good statistics that you brought up because, again, you can't be doing that when it comes to the postseason. You're not going to get away with that.
And you're not going to get that many chances for a takeaway in the postseason either. But the thing is, if you do, you got to capitalize. And the Hawks are good at capitalizing. But you can't have that many giveaways. I'm sorry. I don't care what team you are. You can't have that many giveaways.
No, you're absolutely right.
Because you turn into the Colorado Avalanche if you do. Well, we're going to hit our news segment. There was quite a bit that happened. Last night, the Ottawa game, I saw the save of the year, I thought. Mike Condon of Ottawa stoned Chris Kunitz, who was in the slot. Crosby had a pass, and he fired it right to the slot for Kunitz, who had basically a wide open net. And then Condon kind of just jumped into the crease and blockered it away, and Kunitz looked to the heavens as soon as the play happened.
It's like when he robbed Ryan Spooner in the Winter Classic game.
Yeah, Condon, saved the day again. I forgot who won the matchup, but I do believe that was the save of the year so far.
Yeah, there've been a lot of them so far. And
then we had a couple suspensions handed down yesterday also on March 23rd. Rasmus Ristolainen of Buffalo was suspended 3 games for that interference on Pittsburgh's Jake Gensel.
Ugly.
Yes, the onus is on the player to stop, but, it's not his fault the pass didn't make it to him. I mean, he knew the puck was going to that guy. I mean, and you're going for a hip check. You can't really... I mean... What are you going to use to stop? The boards or a guy?
You got to go with Gensel.
I mean, it was unfortunate to see the guy get injured, but I thought that 3 games was a bit steep.
Think so?
Suspension. I thought he could have been suspended a game. He was kicked out for the hit, for the interference, which was truly interference, but there's been a lot worse hits because Roman Polak was also suspended 2 games for hit behind on Columbus. I forget the player's name, but 2 games for hit from behind, whereas an interference call, you get 3 games.
I'm not too sure.
I don't know about this new player safety department. It made more sense when Shanahan ran it.
Yeah, it did. I think he did a great job with it because now it's just kind of.
Yeah, it's
everywhere.
whoever. But now we're gonna get into another segment that we all love, the sin bin. All right. Well, who are the goal scoring leaders, Chad? I know Sidney Crosby's up there, but I don't know what spot he's at.
He's at number 1 with 41 goals.
Hoo-hoo! Sid's got 41.
And
He's the first to 40.
Yeah, and check this out. We have Kucherov with 66 games played, 37 goals.
Wow. He's also tied with Brad Marchand. How many games did Marchand play?
Marchand's played 74, and Crosby's at 67. So.
Wow. I know Sid had missed some time. It's surprising that Brad Marchand's still up in the leaders, but he's really matured this year. And then there's a couple guys tied for 4th also.
Yeah, we got a two-way tie with Vladimir Tarasenko and Patrick Laine.
Of the Blues and Jets, respectively.
Yes.
They have, what, 34?
34 goals right now. And
so then who are the guys that have 33?
Oh, that's I think that's a 6-way tie. You got Peccaretti, Atkinson, Kane, Malkin, Matthews, and respectively, this is Max Peccaretti of Montreal, American-born player. Cam Atkinson, he's 73 games played, 33 goals. Patrick Kane, 74 games, 33 goals. Evgeny Malkin, 62 games played, 33 goals. And Austin Matthews at 73 games played, 33 goals.
Wow, the one that really impresses me in that tie is Matthews. It's cool to see him and Laine going head-to-head for the goal-scoring leaders, especially with all these big names.
Oh, yeah. And you know what the thing is with assists? Laine is at 61 and Matthews is at 60.
Well, I mean, we're talking about goals here, Chad. We had the goal assist last time around, but it still surprises me seeing Sid so high up there with the goals for being a setup man. He just has been more comfortable scoring lately, though, these past couple seasons.
Yeah, also to mention, goals per game, 1.221. So, I mean, you got his power play goals. Let's see. That's
Whose power play goals?
Let's see. Looking up Crosby's stats right now.
Okay.
Power play points is 23. Power play goals. He's got 13 power play goals. I mean, this guy is he's upped his game. When people thought, hey, Crosby's done. This guy, he's elevated it with his goal scoring. You're right. He's a setup guy, but this is something unreal.
I mean, Kucherov's been, he's high up on the list because he's had several games with hat tricks. Tarasenko, it's been cool watching him, light the lamp. He's got a nice shot. He almost reminds me of Joe Sakic with his wrist shot.
Yeah, I mean, he's just what St. Louis needs, and Tarasenko he just does it naturally. It's a beautiful wrist shot.
It must be nice for Pittsburgh to have two guys, that have over 30 goals.
I believe it was a stat. Last time they had this, they won the cup again. But
I don't want to see that happen. No offense to all the Pittsburgh fans out there. But we'd just like to say again that we're on WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM, JudgeCastRadio.com, WJOB1230.com, on the Blueline Facebook, YouTube. I think we got a Twitter out there at Blueline Podcast and also on Instagram at On the Blueline Pod 1.
We're also at Facebook, we're on Twitter.
Yeah, we're everywhere. And if you want to reach out, ask us a question, don't hesitate to ask. And be sure to visit us on JudgeCastRadio.com. Well, we got some games to preview this week. We got some good Chicago matchups.
Yeah. I want to see this Chicago and Tampa Bay game.
It's Monday, the 27th of March. It's a 6:30 Central Standard Time start. It's going to be a good one.
Then you also got Washington and Minnesota.
That's the next day on Tuesday, the 28th at 7. I think, those are two teams that could end up meeting in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Which ones?
Minnesota and Washington.
Ooh, I don't know about that. I think Minnesota. I mean, we'll talk about that another time, but Washington, Minnesota. With this game.
Those are two powerful playoff teams. Those teams both have over 100 points right now, I believe.
I think no.
I think Minnesota's just short, but
94.
they'll end up with 100.
I think they'll end up with 102, but right now I know that they're at 94.
And they're still a good team, so it's going to be quite the matchup, I believe. And then Chicago faces Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh on the banks of the Three River on the Wednesday night rivalry. This is a good one.
Yeah, 7:00. Last time these two teams met, Pittsburgh had a lot of injuries, and also it was on Chicago's home ice where they beat them 4-1. But my opinion is, as you said, Washington and Minnesota will meet up. I think it's going to be Chicago and Pittsburgh, and that's I think this is one of our game previews, but I think this is a preview Stanley Cup.
Hey, don't paint me into that corner yet. I said it is a possible matchup.
Hey, so we got two Stanley Cup previews.
Yep, two possible Stanley Cup previews. Yes, you're right, Chad.
I like that.
It's just the way how the schedule works. I like how this comes down. It's cool seeing like top playoff teams facing each other before the playoffs even happen, because then they get to gauge where they're at.
Exactly. I mean, it's all about knowing where you're at. Same thing with that's the reason why I like the Chicago and Tampa Bay game. You go against offensive teams like they just played Dallas,
and they both met in the Cup too.
Yeah.
And it's going to be cool seeing how Vasilevsky, the goaltender, is taking the starting job, especially facing a top tier team such as Chicago.
Yeah, last we know, Vasilevsky was 5-0-1 ever since the trade.
Yes, I believe ever since Bishop was shipped out of town, Vasilevsky did very well. He also did very well since taking over. He's just had a good season overall. It's been good to see the young Russian.
I agree.
Come into his own. Well, thank you folks for listening. My partner Chad, we love doing this, don't we, Chad?
Oh, we love this. This is awesome. It's great that we started this.
I can't believe it's our 16th episode, and I can't believe it's coming to an end, man.
Yeah, hopefully. I would love to keep on doing this, and the other thing too is maybe if these our audience has some questions, maybe we can start answering some more again.
Yeah, that would be nice if some of our listeners shot us a line and see what they have to say. I do got to say though, it's fun seeing these teams coming down the stretch, because in a couple of weeks the playoffs are going to happen.
Yeah, we got to do one of those things where we talk about, what we really think is going to happen.
Yep, we'll be coming out with a playoff preview soon enough. But for right now, the teams are jockeying for the playoff position. It's coming down right to the wire, especially for some of these wild card teams.
Yeah. Well, in the West, it's kind of set. There's a little change in there, but the East is really, really unpredictable.
Isn't that the usual for the East? How it's always been predictable.
Yeah. So last year it was the Wild West. Now it's the Wild East.
I like how you put that, Chad. You are pretty colorful at times.
I got my moments.
Well, for my partner,
Chad Van Dersen,
I'm Philip Bernardi. This is the On the Blueline podcast. We had a great time bringing you this episode today on March 24th, folks.
Definitely.
Hopefully, you tuned in to us next time. Please click subscribe. I hope you guys enjoy the Hawks games coming up, and go Blackhawks.